Hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Jesse Hawila with WFAA out of Dallas, and let's take a look at what North Texas is expecting with this winter storm, and then we'll look around the other parts of the state here in just a moment. But for us here in North Texas, we're going to expect icy roads for all of Saturday, and that may linger all the way through Tuesday as we stay below freezing for quite some time. Widespread freezing rain, widespread sleet, that's in the forecast for all of North Texas as we get into the weekend. It's a winter storm warning that's in effect for all of North Texas, and ice storm warning is in effect for Van Zandt and Henderson counties. That's where the ice totals will get a little bit higher. I'll show you those accumulations here in a moment. So as we go throughout the day on Saturday, we'll have on and off freezing rain, sleet pellets, even a little bit of snow in our far northwestern sections of North Texas. And as we get into the afternoon, maybe a little brief pause before the second wave rolls in Saturday evening and into the overnight. There it is at 11 p.m. Widespread freezing rain, widespread sleet, transitioning to a very brief period of some snow showers. It's not going to be a lot of snow with this particular storm system. It's just a lot of the nasty stuff, which is the ice. And this will all start wrapping up by late Sunday morning, leaving us dry Sunday afternoon. A glaze to a half an inch of ice across all of North Texas. I think the Dallas-Fort Worth area really sits between a quarter of an inch and some isolated half an inch amounts. The lower totals of ice will be northwest of the Metroplex. There are those higher totals of ice in East Texas. Henderson, Van Zandt counties, up to 3/4 of an inch. That's where travel will be extra tricky, and that's where the risk of power outages will start to go up. The weight of the freezing rain can be dangerous. It can break tree limbs. It can cause power lines to sway and snap. And when you start getting half an inch to 3/4 of an inch like they are in East Texas, that's where the risk of power outages becomes a little bit more of a concern. Snow and sleet, 1 to 3 inches for the Metroplex. A little bit higher total of sleet and snow accumulation along the Red River, and lower totals to the south of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The other part that we're dealing with, very cold air, dangerously cold air. An extreme cold warning in effect for the entire region. Wind chills both Sunday and Monday morning will fall to below 0 or the very low single digits. If you look here Sunday morning, it'll feel like 2 in Dallas, 3 below in Fort Worth, 1 below 0 in McKinney, 7 in Corsicana, 1 in Waxahachie, 3 in Canton, and 7 below in Mineral Wells. And even Monday morning, dangerously cold, 10 degrees below 0 in Denton, 6 below 0 in McKinney, 7 below Granbury, 10 below Mineral Wells, 1 below in Athens, and 9 below in Canton. And we do expect to go back down into the teens early Tuesday morning, so hazardous travel is expected not only this weekend, but Monday morning and even Tuesday morning. We're staying on top of it, and we want to kick it down to our friends in Austin for an update on what they're expecting there in Central Texas.
All right, I'm KHOU Chief Meteorologist Hunter Williams, and this is what we're expecting here in the Austin area in Central Texas with our winter storm coming in for this weekend. So I wanted to start with kind of a new product. This is what's called the Winter Storm Severity Index. So this takes in a bunch of factors, how cold it's going to be, type of precipitation, weighs it all, gives you just, okay, well, where do we rank? Minor, moderate, major, extreme. Well, for most of our area, it's moderate, but what you're seeing here, especially for parts of the hill country, a little bit of major there in the red. So primarily, we're looking at travel disruptions and just scattered power outages. So here in Central Texas, a lot of us remember what happened back in 2023. And of course, everybody remembers what happened back in 2021. We do not expect a repeat of that. Not to say this won't be impactful, but as of right now, we're not expecting the same widespread, just crippling power situation, more of a travel disruption. Winter storm warning in effect for all of our KHOU area, and you can see that as the confidence in this event has increased, they've stretched that down to Bexar County and San Antonio, and these darker purples, those are ice storm warnings over parts of East Texas. So as our front descends through the area this evening, you can see we get rainy and we get stormy. So before it gets icy, it gets stormy, and some of these could even pack a little bit of a punch. Heavy rain, minor flood risk, just a really dynamic system. And that round is moving out early Saturday. Now on the backside, I think it's fair game to have some freezing rain in the early morning, maybe even the overnight over parts of the hill country. So as we go through the first half of the day on Saturday, the main event is not here yet. That is going to be Saturday late afternoon into Saturday night. But as early as the first part of the day, we already have some sort of icy issues in spots, especially Williamson County, back into the hill country, but even over parts of Travis County and the metro, it will be a possibility. But notice this kind of ramps up through the day, temperatures dropping, hovering, dropping, then down below freezing. And then here we go. This could be the main round, widespread freezing rain, a few embedded pockets of sleet, but I think mainly we're looking at freezing rain. This is just going to continue all through the overnight. Some of this could be heavy at times, temperatures in the 20s, low 30s, even colder than that in the hill country that it's moving out by Sunday morning. Mid-20s Austin, teens in the hill country, and I think it's going to be a struggle for many areas to get above freezing through the day on Sunday. So icy conditions continuing into Monday, maybe even into Tuesday over parts of the hill country. As far as accumulations, still feel pretty good about 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch, and especially in this kind of darker color, isolated amounts of 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch are possible. So we're looking at these two categories right here: cars coated, bridges icy, thin ice on trees, and then especially for some more widespread roads becoming icy, and scattered power outages that will be a possibility. So here's our 7-day forecast, and I've extended our weather impact alert. So temperatures dropping through the day on Saturday, rain to freezing rain. Then we're going to have on Saturday night, 100% chance for freezing rain and some sleet. The mix is moving out early Sunday, below freezing for much of the day Sunday for many spots. Monday morning, hard freeze in the teens, above freezing in Austin Monday during the afternoon, but parts of the hill country won't. So we've extended into another hard freeze for a weather impact alert on Tuesday. Milder weather coming in by the middle of next week.
Hi, everybody. David Paul here in the KHOU 11 Weather Center in Houston, Texas. This is what the Houston area is facing. Winter storm warning now in effect for Harris County. That includes downtown Houston and counties surrounding the immediate Houston area. Winter storm warning not in effect for the immediate coast, although we're keeping a close eye on those counties. We could still see a little bit of ice toward Galveston when all this is said and done. You'll notice that the counties to the north, Polk and San Jacinto and Walker County, not in the winter storm warning. That is because you are under an ice storm warning. We expect more significant levels of ice to accumulate on power lines and tree limbs. Walker County, Polk and San Jacinto County, what that means is you have a higher power outage threat to our north and east, so says the National Weather Service. Let's walk through the timeline. This is Saturday early in the morning. Rain and temps in the 50s and 60s at that point. We'll see rain and maybe a thunder shower off and on during the day on Saturday. That's 9:30 Saturday morning. Rain and thunder, everybody forecast to be above freezing at that point. Thunderstorms push toward Louisiana by noon. Then as we head into Saturday evening, things begin to go downhill with the temperature dropping to near freezing. Brenham, College Station, Huntsville. Gets a little closer by 9 p.m. Still rain in Houston, but as you get toward midnight, their temperature dropping to near freezing. Conroe. And we go into 3 a.m. Tomball, Northwest Harris County, down below freezing. So is Katy. So that rain that the algorithm is depicting here, if Katy does drop to 29, that's going to be freezing rain. This is when bridges and overpasses will really begin to get not just dangerous, but impassable. This is concerning. We get into 5:30 Sunday and temperatures near freezing. Sugarland, Hobby, Bush, Tomball, heavy icing is possible early Sunday morning. By 9 a.m., temps now drop the immediate Houston area into the mid-20s with freezing rain still taking place mid-morning Sunday. This is when you want to make sure you're inside and not on the road. Let's talk about ice accumulation. You get nothing to a trace. It makes dangerous travel, but minimal power outages. You get to 3/4 of an inch, and it's widespread tree damage and power outages. So when we look at the ice forecast for the Houston area, we're below that threshold forecast for Harris County. Huntsville at 1/4 of an inch, Palestine up to 3/4 of an inch, so is Waco, and so Houston right on the edge of a very significant icing situation. It's something we'll have to watch carefully because with these shallow Arctic air masses like we're dealing with now, it means that there's a larger degree of uncertainty in all these forecast products that we're showing you. Wind chill, it's going to get cold. This is Sunday morning, feels like 21 at Bush. College Station feels like 11. Monday morning, wind chill, Bush at 15, College Station at 3. So wind chills down into the single digits and teens puts us in an extreme cold warning as well. This is Sunday night into Monday, and then Tuesday morning, we're going to be in the lower 20s across the board as well. That's what it looks like in Houston right now. Let's go to San Antonio and get the update there.
I'm Bill Taylor in San Antonio. The biggest change from yesterday, the National Weather Service is now including San Antonio in the winter storm warning. Now, south of I-10, these counties go into the warning at 6 p.m. Saturday, and it goes until noon Sunday. We are expecting some icing. I've got the updated ice accumulation forecast. You can see the extreme cold warning Saturday evening to Monday morning down the I-35 corridor south of Highway 90 and then into the hill country, more counties for that extreme winter threat. Here's what the radar is going to look like overnight tonight into Saturday morning. You can see 4 a.m. and we've got very heavy rain. Now temperatures will be warm enough. This will all stay liquid, but these are going to be thunderstorms, non-severe, that probably put down at about 1.5 to 2 inches of rain in some isolated areas. Then the rain thins out as we get into midday Saturday, but we should start seeing some sleet across the hill country, Fredericksburg back to Rock Springs, pushing into the city and northern Bexar County by Saturday night. This is 9 p.m. where you see mid-20s across the hill country, close to freezing in the city. That's when San Antonio is going to probably start seeing a little sleet mixed in after the midnight hour into the 2, 3, even 4 a.m. time slot, where you see better coverage on this sleet, especially the hill country, as temperatures drop into the teens into Sunday morning. This is 6 a.m. Most of the moisture starts pulling out to the east, and we get to 32 on the nose by about 1:30 or 2 p.m. Sunday, and probably mid to upper 30s, hopefully, with some sunshine Sunday afternoon. Now that ice accumulation forecast, 2 models side by side. The first model, not as aggressive, with about 1/4 inch or less at Bernie, Kerrville, Fredericksburg, and nothing expected in San Antonio as far as accumulation. Just a bit of a glaze across the north side. Look at how aggressive the NAM model's doing it. We're upwards of 1/4 inch to almost 1/3 in San Antonio. Up I-35 for about 1/3 inch, and then closer to even 1/2 inch as you get up into Fredericksburg. So this is worst case scenario, but it looks as though it's going to be split between the two. Very strong winds on Saturday and Sunday both. 25 to 30 means brutal wind chills, not only over the weekend, but even into the start of next week. Let me show you 6 p.m. Saturday. It's going to feel like 20 in San Antonio, single digits in the hill country, down to 1, 2 Kerrville, 13 on Sunday morning at 7. And then look at this, getting back to work and back to school. The wind chill is going to be 12 on Monday morning and below 0 in Fredericksburg. Now here's what to expect in East Texas.
And I'm Brett Anthony here in Tyler, where we have an ice storm warning in effect now and through Sunday at 6 p.m. And that includes the cities of Tyler and Longview, Jacksonville and Henderson. Most of East Texas in this ice storm warning, including deep East Texas, which was under a winter storm watch. The reason for the ice storm warning, we could see freezing rain accumulations exceeding 1/2 inch in some areas, maybe up to 3/4 inch in some isolated areas. Then north of Interstate 20 back toward Gilmer, Wood and Upshur County, also Camp County, Franklin, Titus and Morris County are in a winter storm warning, also in effect through noon. And then on top of that, once the precipitation leaves, we're talking about extremely cold temperatures with overnight lows potentially in the single digits by Monday morning, and wind chill values Saturday night, Sunday, and Monday that could be in the single digits. All right, latest winter storm severity index valid through Sunday at noon, and we have a large chunk of East Texas now in what we would consider major impacts, and that means considerable disruptions are possible. Avoid travel, and widespread power outages and closures are also possible. We've already heard about several school closings coming our way to start next week. Future Skycast, it's heavy rain through the evening, then the colder air filtering into East Texas by Saturday morning. We're looking at freezing rain developing. By Saturday late morning, freezing rain continues. Then freezing drizzle, maybe mixing with a little bit of sleet in the afternoon. And then the second heavier wave comes in Saturday night. And this is where we may see power disruptions really begin to occur. And then Sunday morning, it's snow flurries. Sunday otherwise is a cloudy, cold day with temperatures potentially only in the 20s. How much ice could we see? This is a broad brushed picture here. Don't want to go into specifics on the numbers, but we'll show you the contours. You can match the forecast numbers up here, and you can see there's a large chunk of East Texas, and the reason for the ice storm warning, experiencing 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch of ice. Over in parts of Louisiana, there could be 1.25 inches of ice from this storm, so it will cause disruptions for sure. Just 1/10 inch can cause a light glaze on roads and sidewalks, but we're looking at 1/4 inch of ice, so numerous power outages are possible. And if we get to that 1/2 inch of ice accumulations, we could be talking about widespread tree damage and long-term power outages possible. This will be a memorable storm when it is all said and done. So hour by hour Saturday, temperatures fairly steady. We've got a mix of freezing rain, sleet, and ice accumulations again up to a ½ inch, maybe more in some locations. Here's our Baylor Scott and White Texas Spine and Joint Hospital 10-day forecast. Weather impact alerts continue Saturday and Sunday and into Monday, with overnight lows down to 12 and then temperatures right around 50 by next Thursday for a thaw. Here's what to expect in Waco and Temple.
Here's what we're looking at. Again, rain falling across central Texas, stays as rain for tonight. You can see here we are moving into the later night hours there. By the time we get done with the 10 o'clock news, still rain as well as we get into the pre-dawn hours. And then as we get towards 8, 9 o'clock, that's where you start to see some of that changeover occurring with that freezing rain starting to move into our western and northern counties. Put this back in motion, and through the late morning, early afternoon, still seeing some rain mixed in. It just depends where temperatures are above or below freezing, but again, mostly freezing rain at that point. And it's going to kind of come in waves throughout the day. You can see a bulk of what we're going to see is going to be by the time we get to Saturday night. Notice where temperatures are by the time we get to Saturday night. It's going to be plenty cold enough for it to start impacting roadways there especially. Put it back in motion, stays with us through Sunday morning before everything clears out as we head towards the mid to late morning hours on Sunday. You did notice there as it went by, there is a chance for a flurry or two by the time we get to Sunday morning, but really this is not going to be a snow event. This is going to be mainly an ice event. So we really have to talk about when that ice is going to get here. So let's do that. If you're in our northern or western communities, I'm talking San Saba back towards Hamilton, Meridian, Hillsboro, we're talking 5 to 8 pre-dawn through about 8 o'clock there. 8 o'clock through about noon for most of the I-35 and I-45 corridors, Killeen, Temple, Waco, Fairfield, Mejia, Centerville. And then if you're in the Brazos Valley, we're talking about noon through 2 o'clock. That's when you can expect to see it start. Once it starts, it'll come in waves throughout the day and last into Sunday morning, like I said. In terms of totals, our models have walked it back just a little bit, but not enough for comfort. Again, anything over 1/4 inch is going to cause problems. You can see most of us can expect 1/4 to a ½ inch of potential ice accumulations. That'll cause roadway issues. That will also apply a lot of stress to area power lines. So again, we could see power loss because of the weight of that ice. So we'll have to keep that monitored through the weekend as well. How about temperatures? That's the other aspect here. By the time we get to tomorrow morning, again, people start falling below freezing. We stay that way through Saturday. And by the time we get to Sunday morning, we're in the teens. Wind chills could even feel colder than that. And by the time we get to Sunday afternoon, we may get close to freezing, but we're going to stay in the 20s primarily for your Sunday afternoon. Take a look at Monday morning. We're talking temperatures in the lower teens. And then I'm going to fast forward this all the way to Tuesday morning because there's a potential here that Tuesday could be the coldest morning of this entire event. Wind chills could be close to 0, maybe even a degree or 2 below 0. So we'll have to keep an eye on those wind chills, especially if we start to see businesses and schools opening up Monday and Tuesday. It is going to be bitterly cold, dangerously cold Monday and Tuesday morning. So definitely keep an eye on that. But like I said, once we drop below freezing tomorrow, we don't climb back above freezing Sunday, potentially not even Monday. Maybe a few of us on Monday afternoon, but most of us are going to be hovering right around 30 degrees. The problem with that is anything that falls through Saturday and Sunday morning won't be able to melt until we get back above freezing. So by the time we get to Monday, we could still be talking about some isolated icy patches on the roads. Same thing Tuesday morning before things finally start to moderate just a little bit as we get into the middle of the week. After that, once we get to the end of the week, we could be talking about another storm.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Patrick Vaughn in Beaumont. We're just to the east of Houston, and as you can see, we continue with a weather impact alert right on through this weekend with the potential for freezing rain early Sunday morning, followed by the coldest weather we've seen in southeast Texas since last January. It looks like our northern viewing area will see the best chance of freezing rain Sunday morning, anywhere between 1/4 and 1/3 of an inch up that way, followed by very cold weather conditions as we head towards Monday and Tuesday morning. So just north of Beaumont in Hardin, Tyler, Jasper, Newton counties, an ice storm warning is in effect. Northern Jefferson and Orange counties, muted effect of maybe some light icing, freezing rain with a winter weather advisory in effect. Now this is the graph model. It's a high resolution model, and we like anywhere between 1/4 and 1/3 of an inch of ice up that way. And this is the GFS model, and it does bring a little bit more here in the triangle, maybe 1/10 of an inch along I-10, but again generally showing 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch of ice. That's when you start having problems with power outages and things of that nature. Regardless, travel is discouraged across southeast Texas as we work towards Sunday morning. So pinks Northwards, isolated to scattered power outages anywhere between 1/4 to 1/3 of an inch there. And right along the I-10 corridor between Orange, Beaumont, and maybe over towards Winnie, a few hundredths to 1/10 of an inch of ice. I think the roadways are generally going to be good there. Not so much up into the East Texas Lakes area. Cold weather advisory will be in effect on Saturday and into Sunday, as we expect wind chills Monday morning. I think they're going to be colder than this, but generally in the low to mid-teens, possibly around 20. And then an extreme cold weather watch is in effect for Tuesday morning. We think 12, 13, 14 degrees up and towards the East Texas Lakes area. Pretty good bet. And into the mid to upper teens and lower 20s here in the Golden Triangle. Fast forward into tomorrow. After tonight's very light rain across southeast Texas, we expect a line of showers, maybe a few thunderstorms, non-severe weather late morning as the Arctic cold front comes through, and then falling temperatures all day. And by evening on Saturday, we're going to be just above freezing in the lakes, around 40 in the Triangle. Then as we head towards early morning hours Sunday, we'll start to see icing, freezing rain up towards the lakes area of East Texas. That will spread on towards the south into the Golden Triangle during the morning hours. For tonight, turning colder, mid-40s lakes, lower 50s Triangle. And tomorrow, just falling temperatures down to the mid-30s lakes and near 40 by the end of the day. Weather impact alert for Sunday morning across our area because of the freezing rain. And then cold mornings, pipe busters coming up Monday and Tuesday mornings with freezing weather pretty much every morning through Thursday. Now let's check in on Midland and Odessa.
Hey everyone, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Frazier in Midland, Odessa and Abilene, San Angelo. And here's what to expect for this weekend. Temperatures already dropping off big time tonight into a lot of 20s and teens. Notice the little small number next to it. That's going to be the feels like temperature. So you throw in the wind, the humidity. We're looking at a lot of single digits on here heading into early tomorrow morning, early Saturday morning, that is, more than anything else. Yikes, it is downright chilly. Heading into the afternoon, it's not warming up, it's actually cooling down even more. So a lot of that ice and snow accumulation that we do see this weekend is going to continue to hang around until we get above freezing. And that's certainly not happening Sunday morning. Look at that, single digit temperatures in Snyder, negative wind chills there as well, all down to Sweetwater, Monday, you name it. Much of the Permian Basin a little bit warmer, even those higher elevations as well. Sunday evening, okay, maybe a little bit better, low 20s. That's not a whole lot warmer in all fairness. And then we drop down Monday into a lot of those single digits, especially the northern Permian Basin and North Concho Valley as well. Negative wind chill temperatures. Whew. All right, Monday evening, okay, we start to see close to freezing and we drop down again until Tuesday. That's when we finally start to warm up. So let's check that future track over this weekend. All right, starting your Saturday morning, actually pretty calm, but then a lot of that freezing rain to regular rain to snowfall, that starts to move its way in from those higher elevations, moving across the Permian Basin around Saturday evening in towards San Angelo and Abilene during that time frame with that heavy snowfall potential north of Interstate 20, starting to pop up again in those mountains Sunday morning. Wow, yeah, that's going to be leading to a number of accumulation amounts. But then by Sunday morning, 8 a.m., look at that. It all quickly goes away and that cloud cover goes away with it. So how much of those snowfalls? Well, we could see anywhere from 1/2 inch to 2.5 inches along the I-20 corridor farther south, maybe trace amounts to 1/2 inch, while the panhandle is going to be stuck with closing in on 1/2 foot of that snowfall forecast. So frost scrape alert. I don't recommend driving through a lot of this unless you have experience, but you're definitely going to need 5 to 10 minutes just to de-ice the car and then double your commute time. Just make sure you're taking it slow and taking it safe during that time. So of course this starts from Friday night all the way through Monday morning. Wind chill values getting into the negatives, ice and snowfall accumulation. What do you need to do? Protect those 4 Ps more than anything else. Here's that forecast outlook. Yeah, weather impact alert. Temperatures getting above freezing Monday into Tuesday, and for much of the Concho Valley, we're kind of seeing that same boat, although a little bit warmer, mainly for San Angelo, with 50s heading back in by Tuesday.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Carly Smith here in Corpus Christi, Texas, and we're still tracking freezing conditions possible for us even this far south as we look ahead to Saturday night, Sunday night, and Monday night. The best chance of freezing rain is going to be early Sunday morning, temperatures 20 to 30 degrees, wind chills possibly in the teens. That's that extreme cold temperature for us here in South Texas. What we need to do, protect the 4 Ps, limit travel especially to the north, and of course dress warmly. We're not used to these cold temperatures. Now we're looking at mostly just a light freeze, and that's going to limit our window where we could see that freezing rain or sleet mixing in early on Sunday. Monday, a hard freeze is likely, but the rain clears out. So we're just talking the chance for pipes to be impacted there on Monday and possibly on Tuesday, with our freeze lasting longer than 12 hours. A light freeze is when we're 29 to 32. That mostly impacts vegetation. The hard freeze is when temperatures fall below 28, and that's what we're looking at there into Monday. Look at this, Corpus Christi, 24 degrees, wind chill 15. This is going to be our coldest day and our most dangerous day to be outside, especially if you're not dressed for these temperatures. A glaze of ice is going to be possible on Sunday morning, mostly across our northern counties. This is where the National Weather Service also has us under a winter storm watch. So that's Bee County, Live Oak County, Refugio County, and Aransas County. Some isolated sleet may mix in as well. Bridges, the most likely part of your travel that could be impacted. It's best to just avoid unnecessary travel Sunday morning. We should get above freezing in the afternoon, but you do see we are expecting 2 to 5 hours below freezing in that northern portion of the coastal bend, which is why that's where our best shot at some of that freezing rain and sleet mixing in is going to be. We're talking 30 to 35, trending a little bit warmer for the rest of the coastal bend. We may not reach freezing from Falfurrias, possibly through Kingsville and toward Padre Island. Rainfall, we're talking nearing an inch across the northern coastal bend, but in the watershed, the northern watershed, 1 to 2 inches is going to be likely. So we're tracking some thunderstorms that are going to be moving through the area. That's going to be early Saturday as that cold front is moving in. Look at this, because we're so warm. By the way, Corpus Christi made it to 80 degrees today on Friday, right? That's just all that warm air piling up ahead of the Arctic blast that's coming in. Those two air masses mixing, that's going to cause a chance of thunderstorms. So we're going to see those storms passing through. Sunday morning, another surge of upper level energy moves in. This is when we have the best shot at some of that transitioning into the winter precipitation. Your weather impact alert for rain most of the day Saturday, a brief window Sunday with the glaze of ice on bridges, hard freeze into Monday, and then our winds will be strong out of the north. So checking out your 7-day forecast for Corpus Christi, we're highlighting Sunday, Monday, Tuesday for freeze. Saturday is when that cold front moves through, and then there is another chance of some rain and maybe even winter weather next weekend. But for now, thanks for watching. Stay with us throughout the winter storm as conditions change. We'll have updates on our free streaming app.